you can simplify that communication. You can just say, hey, change my display settings to X, Y, or Z. So if we look at it that way, then it becomes something that's a little less scary. So this is part 3 on our discussion about Bing Chat Enterprise. And on this episode, we're going to summarize our conversation and talk about how generative AI is having an effect on business and how it's going to continue to have an effect on all of us in the future.
These tools have already saved me tons of time. I know they've saved you tons of time. We did just enable specifically the Bing Chat feature. We've been using OpenAI up until this point, and I see us going forward using this a lot more, again, for the same reasons we mentioned earlier. But there's so much more. This is coming out. Not only, this is available now, but also Windows 11 is going to have Copilot in Windows 11, which is, again, AI that allows you to make changes to your desktop. The example they give in that keynote from that conference is you could tell your operating system, I want you to enable dark mode as the theme on my OS, and it just does it. So it's, things where in the past you'd have to know, okay, I need to go to settings, I need to customize, these settings. You don't need to know where to go anymore. You can just tell it, here's what I'm trying to do with my computer. Can you make it happen? Can you move my, the search from the center over to the left or something like that? See if it can do that for you. So that's really cool. And they're going to put Copilots in Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, everywhere. So AI is going to be in the Microsoft suite from here on out. That's all coming, and AI is going to be part of our lives. And so something I want to say to business owners is this stuff is coming whether you want it or not. It's becoming a part of our environment, and I know there are a lot of people who are kind of like cautious with it. My recommendation is go ahead and start to use it now and start to become comfortable with it, because, Google, Microsoft, Apple, they're all going to make this, they're thrusting this upon us. We don't have a choice. It's coming. So let's start to get familiar with it now, start to understand how to use it now. That's my recommendation, because you're going to have to at some point. This just is the way things are going to work from here forward.
Yeah, and I like one of the things that was mentioned in the keynote, and I'm gonna paraphrase this in a way that's nowhere near as eloquent as was originally stated. But basically, what we're doing is it's just an enhanced form of communication. So when you communicate, you give information, you receive information back, and how you do that and the speed that happens can be dictated by a lot of different things, whether it's Morse code, whether you're having like a face-to-face conversation, whether you're speaking English or French or whatever the case is, you're giving information in order to receive information back. We're already doing that. When you use Windows 11, you type in your search bar display because you want to change your display settings. You used to have to go to the control panel and know where to look for it. You used to have to go through specific steps to communicate what you wanted and then get a response. Now that's been simplified for us. You can type display, click on extend the display or whatever comes up. And then moving forward using Copilot or whatever else comes from this whole AI revolution, you can simplify that communication. You can just say, hey, change my display settings to X, Y, or Z. Mm-hmm. So if we look at it that way, then it becomes something that's a little less scary. Obviously, there's a lot of power behind this. And there's it could be an oversimplification of the conversation right now. But if we look at it in terms of just getting the things that we need out of these machines that we're using and speeding up that process, then business owners can have a little less fear, and it'll help us to adapt it. Because like you mentioned, Travis, it's not going away. It's just going to be
It's here. And like what you said, you said tell it. Well, that's actually on the roadmap, right? I mean, I think I know with like GitHub, they have a plugin for Copilot for GitHub where there it appears to be some speech to code. And so the idea that instead of typing something to your computer, like, hey, I want you to turn on dark mode, is something you have to type in. At some point, you'll just be able to speak it to the computer and say, hey, can you change my theme to dark mode? And it's going to do that. And this is a good, there's good in this. And I want to point this out. People with disabilities, okay, people who have difficulty with access to the internet and to computers for one reason or another, physical, disabilities that prevent that access. This helps them overcome some of that, right? The ability to truly speak to a computer and have it bring you back information that you want. That can help and empower a lot of people who right now are cut off from these tools. So there really is an upside to a lot of this as well. I know there's also the scary downsides that everybody's panicking about, but really this is happening, it's changing, and we are getting into that Star Trek environment where it really is like, hey, computer, answer this question for me, do this thing. And I for one think it's great. I welcome our robot overlords. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'd rather just live in a cabin in the woods somewhere. And but hey,
Yeah.
you got to embrace what's coming. You can't deny what's actually happening. And this is a whole nother subject, but what you're saying about access and helping people with disabilities, I know it was mentioned in the keynote. Signly, apparently, and maybe I'm getting the name wrong, but it's where sign language and it is actually generated through AI to where you can copy text, drop it in, and it generates a visual where someone's performing sign language for someone who that's their form of communication. So really amazing things happening. And I'm sure we'll probably go further into detail on further podcasts, on other podcasts.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, Travis, let's make IT simple. 30 seconds or less. Summarize Bing Chat Enterprise and its effect on businesses going forward.
Well, it's here to stay. Everything's going this direction. I highly recommend you turn it on if you have it. Give it a shot. You don't have to worry about where the data is going. You're secure that way. But these tools they're going to be part of every Office suite going forward. So start learning it now and get familiar with it and start getting the advantage today.